Hello and welcome to another Fan Sports Preview, a podcast by fans for the fans. We're live here at Sanctuary Cigars in Montgomery, Alabama. I got my guys. We got a guest fan today, Drew, and I got my man Pee Wee, Anthony, aka Pee Wee Edwards. Big Coop is out right now. He's on assignment, so we'll miss him, but we definitely will have him back because we've got some big things coming up after New Year. So I'm going to go ahead and get started. We're going to jump in. We've got a lot going on. The season has ended, and we're in bowl season now, but there's still quite a bit going on right now, guys. I know before the show started, we were kind of chopping it up about the portal and some of we're talking about the recruitment and who are some of the big winners and who are some of the losers these first couple of days. Mm-hmm. So Auburn is doing much better than some of us want to give them credit for. What's your take? What do you think?
It depends on, as a coach, what you want to do, what your philosophy is. You have some coaches, their philosophy is to build through the transfer portal. Mm-hmm. Some coaches, their philosophy is to build through high school. The difference is now you got high school guys, you got Division I high school guys who can't get in Division I high school because a lot of coaches now are recruiting out of that portal because they feel like with the guy from the portal is I get a guy that's been battle tested, he's practiced, he doesn't miss home anymore, he don't miss his girlfriend, and he's ready to go out and play a little more. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, it really just depends. I think that you have to look at the guys who won out of high school because you're building your program for the long term. And then you have to look at a situation like Colorado. I think Deion right now is building for the near future right now.
Right. So with that said, Drew, I'm still trying to wrap my mind around because, traditionally we come from a school where, these schools built their teams from high school recruits. Correct. Now they're building it from the transfer portal. But is that helping them short term or is it helping them long term?
Well, it depends on the school. If you got a team like Colorado that went from 1-11 to 4-8 this year, mm-hmm. It's short term. Mm-hmm. Okay. Now, if you have a team like Bama, Clemson, Florida State, Nebraska, Michigan, that's more short term.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Right. Because they're grabbing guys now because they want to win right now.
Right.
Colorado, under Deion, I think he's trying to get his name out there. Mm-hmm. So, therefore, for him grabbing out the transfer portal, he's going to get these guys in and he's going to win. So now, it's kind of, to me, for him, it's personal. Mm-hmm. Okay. He wanted to get to that Nick Saban level.
Yeah.
So if you can understand that.
Right. I get that. Mm-hmm. Now, 2 days in, Kirby Smart is mm-hmm. looking once again. This will be the first time.
Recruits.
This will be the first time that he's got the #1 recruiting class. What I read since 2020.
Correct.
And since then, they won 2 national championships. So, are we looking at Kirby restocking, or is the SEC leveling out? Because it's been Alabama, Georgia's coming up, but LSU's always kind of right there.
To me personally, I don't know how Anthony feels, but I don't think they're restocking because now, before this year, they had the big name, one number Saban. Mm-hmm. Okay. But now this year you're going to have Sarkisian. Mm-hmm. You're going to have...
Sarkisian's 1-on-1 against them.
Of course. You're going to have the guy from USC, what's his name? Lincoln Riley, mm-hmm. coming into the mix. There's no big names out there no more.
Right.
They're all competitive. And so you haven't...
I was going to say
Hugh Freeze.
We got Hugh Freeze. Mm-hmm. Hugh Freeze is
and that's the way I looked at it.
You know what I'm saying? It's open now.
That's the way I looked at it. Yes.
You don't have no big name no more.
True, you had Kirby at 1.
At 1.
But you also had Saban at 2.
That's
you
it.
had Texas at 3.
Yeah.
And then you had Auburn at
Mhm.
4. These are your top 4 SEC
Mhm.
schools.
Mhm.
Between those classes, it wasn't that big of a difference.
It could,
I mean,
of
I
course.
think the Auburn
Mhm.
class had the least amount.
Mhm.
And they're ranked number 4 in the SEC. I think they brought in 20, and everybody else brought in
16, 15.
they brought in more.
Mhm.
So I don't, and I think that the first number 1 classes that he brought in, I think they were end all be all number 1 classes. It's not that way this time.
Mhm.
I think you got guys that this person ranks at this level. I got a guy that this person ranks at this level. Let's see how they play on the field, and let's see what I can mix with them guys.
Would you say Auburn got what they needed out of this recruitment class?
I think they got what they needed. I think that I think we needed a little more help on the offensive line,
Mhm.
but I think we got what we needed. Yeah.
Okay. What about Alabama? Do you think Alabama got what it needed?
Well, Alabama just restocked.
Right.
I'm just going to be flat out honest. They restocked.
Because I'm going to
Their
tell you what I
quarterbacks.
noticed. I'll tell you what I noticed. I noticed that Alabama continues to retool at that
Quarterback
position.
position,
All
correct.
right. They may not have the number 1 guy, but they
But
got
they
the
have
number
two
2 guy.
guy.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So, and that goes on top of getting the number 1 guy last or
Correct. The year before.
the year before.
Mhm.
So yeah, I see them retooling, but they're retooling in key positions.
That's what it's all about. You got to fill those holes in those key positions. And see, that's what Georgia hasn't done.
Mm-hmm.
That's what. But see, now you got to underlook. You got to don't look at them schools. Missouri had a great year.
Yeah, Missouri.
South Carolina,
Yeah,
Tennessee.
and to be honest with you, those schools had good. They had
Good
good week of
seasons.
recruiting. They had a good.
They did.
They had a
That's
good
what
week
I'm
of
saying.
recruiting.
Well, that's the difference in recruiting now. Is these guys back in the day you used to have a guy that was 3-star,
Mhm.
2-star
Mhm.
that these schools would go after. They're not going out. The Alabamas, the Auburns, your big time recruiting schools. They're not going after the 3-star guys. They're not. They don't have to go after them anymore.
Right.
So those guys are falling down by the wayside. You got South Carolina, you got Missouri. They're going after these guys. These guys, I think it's better when I see a guy like I think Auburn had a guy in Roger McCreary, who's a 2-star cornerback when he came in and left as a 1st-round draft pick.
Mhm.
Those guys look better to me when they leave school than to have a 5-star guy that goes out. He may go out as a 1st-round draft
But I
pick.
think that plays a lot into, when you get a 2-star, he has a lot to work for. He's going to work. He's going to work. He's going to work his tail off. He's not going to take for granted,
That I got this position.
that position. Yeah.
Correct. I
He's going to work
understand.
for that.
Yeah.
So
Mhm.
now, that's the recruiting,
Mhm.
But this transfer portal, guys, Ole Miss is making a killing. Oh,
But it's the coach. That's the coach they're going to play for.
right.
You see what I'm saying? Lane Kiffin has brought a charisma to an organization where, you know what, I want to play for this guy.
Right.
And see, that's what I think a lot of Alabama is just a staple point. You want to play for Nick Saban because you know you're going into the league. Now you got Hugh Freeze in
Right.
the SEC. You want to play for this guy.
Who's also charismatic.
Charismatic.
He's very charismatic.
Yeah.
What he's doing in the transfer portal is you got guys who are losing in high school.
Mhm.
They lose in high school recruiting
Mhm.
battles. So now I got to figure out a way to retool this roster.
Right.
I can't get this high school guy.
Right.
So let me see, who can I get? Let me go get this guy over here. And with NIL, it becomes a little easier because now you got guys coming to you saying, "Hey, man, I'm worth $500,000."
Yeah. I wouldn't say that Ole Miss is missing out. Not at this point. They're not missing out on
Well, they're
4
not.
and 5 stars because they're actually keeping, from what I've read this week, they're keeping a lot of guys in state now. I think that would hurt someone like Mississippi State.
They're keeping a lot of guys in state. They only beat, I think, Auburn out for 1 player, and that was the number 1 player in Mississippi.
Mm-hmm.
That was that defensive tackle.
Okay.
But in key battles, they're losing to Alabama, they're losing to Auburn,
Right.
and they're losing to other schools. And that's where the transfer portal comes in. That is when you have a coach that's losing in those key battles that need physical at certain positions. you need, as Dion say, you need a dog.
Yeah.
Yeah, but what I say is this though. Think about it. Saban, he's already established. If you play for me, it's gonna be discipline.
It's a pipeline.
And you going to the NFL. All right, but then you got a coach like Lane Kiffin. You come in here, you might be let's just say a defensive lineman, but he runs the kind of plays that you might get to score a touchdown. You see what I'm saying? So it's all about energy.
And I have read. I've read where you know players. He's a players coach.
Yeah.
You know these young kids. They want to play.
They want to play.
They do want to play for him.
You got to make them like. And we can take it to the NFL. Mike Tomlin, he's old school. Look at what's going on in Pittsburgh right now.
Right.
Them guys, Pickens came from Georgia. He missed a key block in the Carolina game. His attitude.
Yeah, he's got a bad attitude.
So you want the guys that you want to put in your system. Everybody want to come play for Dion Prime. Yeah. Because the way he runs his ship. You know what I'm saying? So you got to look at these guys. Now high school guys, you got to sell them on a different kind of level. You know, these guys coming from transfer portal. If I go to this school, I can get this deal.
So they're coming. They're coming. The guys are coming. They're coming with the idea of not only making money, but they also come with the idea of
for short term.
I'm gonna start.
I'm gonna start.
It's a difference. If I'm a high schooler, I'm coming for the long term.
To develop.
You gotta, as a coach, we gotta sit down and you gotta teach me. You gotta come to me and tell me how you're gonna develop me into the next level. But if I'm a transfer guy, I've already been on this path of development. You got to teach me how in 1 year you're going to get me ready.
Let me ask you this. How many coaches can we name in college that's willing to take the high schooler and develop? They want to win now because look at what happened at Jimbo Fisher. Yeah. He was there 5 years, but it wasn't that he was top recruiting. They just didn't give him. They wanted him to win right now.
Yeah, I think it depends on your roster.
No, because what I'm saying is, saying we get the high school people and we want to develop them, which is what we're supposed to do.
Well, I'm gonna tell you this. I think Jimbo bit off a lot more.
Well, I agree.
I agree. He took over. He took over a program that has unlimited resources.
Yeah.
Now they're not a traditional winning program.
I agree.
But they had the resources.
They had the expectations though.
Jimbo, and this was a big thing between Jimbo and Nick Saban and some of the other SEC coaches a few years ago that Texas A&M went out and bought the best recruiting class.
Correct.
Jimbo didn't develop them. In fact, he lost a lot of those kids because one, a lot of those 5 stars came in with attitudes. They were troubled kids.
Right, correct.
And they weren't really coachable.
Correct.
And I think that to me was his downfall. And I think Texas A&M is going to. It's showing in the recruiting because they're not even in the top 20. I don't think in the overall recruiting.
No, they weren't.
On the first,
they weren't.
Yeah,
and how you use a transfer portal, as I was saying, it's your roster.
Right.
That's going to decide how I do the transfer portal. Auburn is in the transfer portal, but you're not going to be as deep in the transfer portal as Ole Miss because right now I have a couple of guys that's experienced that's going to come back and help my younger guys get acclimated into the system. I don't want to go out and recruit a whole team over here in the transfer portal and not acclimate my young guys because what I'm going to do in the long run is I'm going to have a whole bunch of transfer portal guys start and my high school guys at the end of the season.
Now look,
let me out.
You had a luxury.
Drew mentioned something about Dion and his whole situation.
He doesn't have that luxury.
He doesn't have that luxury.
Yeah,
exactly. How's he doing? How's he doing in this?
Good. How he's doing now is good.
Yeah.
You have to rebuild your offensive line, and he did.
Oh yeah, he did.
He did that.
He did that.
He did it 2 ways. He went out and got 2 5-star offensive tackles out of high school, and he went out and got 4 transfer guys.
Okay.
To go with what he already had.
Gotcha.
Defensively, he needed linebackers, he needed defensive end. He went out, came into the SEC, came to Houston, and went and retooled that. But what he did this time in the transfer portal versus what he did last year in the transfer portal, and I think a lot of coaches got smart, is they were going to group of five last year. Now they're going to power fives. You're going to guys who you play against, who play against you, who have experience against you, playing the game that you play, and are ready to go out and start.
What do you guys think about Lincoln Riley in USC? Because I wish Coop was here because they didn't have a great recruiting class. They missed out on some guys.
It wasn't their recruiting class. USC's downfall was their defense.
Yeah,
it was their defensive coordinator.
Right.
Lincoln Riley is a very gifted, offensive-minded coach. He's a quarterback, but as you say, quarterback whisperer.
Right.
I mean, he can take the basic quarterback and mold him. At the end of the season, they learned Caleb Williams' style and what he could do.
Right.
So they took, as a defense, Colorado State, Arizona, who else they lost to? A couple of key games they lost to. Notre Dame.
Yeah.
They
got thrashed.
Yeah.
They
took his strengths and took it away.
Right.
I mean, you had Jerry Rice's son.
Right.
They double teamed him. They put a spy on Caleb Williams. And so when he got frustrated, now you asking the defense that gives up 45 points a game to hold a team, they just couldn't do it.
Yeah.
And defensive coordinator, he couldn't realize getting there and get the schemes together to say, I need to stop this player right here.
Yeah.
I need to stop.
So you're saying basically that there's more turmoil coming for the USC program before we start seeing them come back up.
It is.
Because look, I'm gonna tell you, Coop ain't gonna appreciate it.
Whenever I see this is what's concerning to me. Is whenever I see the number one defensive end from a year ago transferring, not even just that, the number two quarterback from a year ago transferring out of your program.
So I just saw that. The 5-star that they got last year is transferring.
Yeah. And then there's another one that doesn't want to go there.
That's what I saw.
When you have that issue, to me,
that's internal.
What it says is that I don't feel like I'm being developed.
Yeah.
Or I'm not getting on the field.
Right.
I don't feel like I'm being developed. I want to try.
Or I'm not seeing a chance to win.
I'm not seeing a chance to win.
I'm not seeing a path to
and maybe y'all can argue with me with this, but Lincoln Riley, to me, has been a coach like, not saying Phil Jackson is a bad coach, but he already went to a ready-made team.
Right.
He had Chicago, and then he went to the Lakers. Then a guy like, who was the other guy? I'm trying to think of.
I know what you're saying.
He's going to a ready-made team.
I have not been a big fan of Lincoln Riley ever since he got to Nebraska. I mean,
Oklahoma.
Oklahoma used to be known for what? Defense. All right. When Stoops left, that was the end of the era of defense at Oklahoma.
Correct.
And Lincoln Riley is a great developer of the quarterback.
You
know what he's done.
Of the transfer quarterback.
Yeah.
Not his quarterback.
Well, he did. Yeah, you're right. Because
what's the name of the transfer with him?
Caleb Williams, he recruited.
He recruited Caleb Williams.
He recruited Caleb.
What about Baker Mayfield?
Baker Mayfield was transferred.
Okay.
Transferred.
All right.
As was Kyler Murray.
Okay. I know Kyler Murray well.
So, guys, we talked about it quite a bit. We've got some other things we want to jump into. I do want to mention the Camellia Bowl this weekend. So we'll talk a little bit about that. So stay with us, and we'll be right back.
This one's for the builders, the people who build this country, the people who get up every day and know it's a good day to make things better. This is the truck they've always trusted, built like never before. Built for those who know that towing and torque and connectivity aren't truck ad cliches. They're things they use to make a living. It's for those who know that available features like active camera views and head-up display aren't just options. That towing innovations are way more than features. They're tools that see things differently built to improve how things will be built. Roads, bridges, schools, stadiums. With onboard scales to weigh whatever heavy thing you have before you build whatever heavy thing we need. With up to 2 kilowatts of Pro Power onboard to power miter saws, jackhammers, and tailgates where no one has ever tailgated before. And the truck is just the start. With Ford Pro telematics that receive scheduled maintenance recommendations ahead of time. And a new upfit integration system, giving you productivity tools to fit your business. From a few contractors to the thousands of farmers responsible for the butter we put on our toast every morning. Yeah, this one's for the builders. The all-new 2023 Ford Super Duty.
I need to try it first.
Welcome back to FANS Sports Preview, podcast for fans by fans. I got my guys here, Drew. I got Anthony, aka Pee Wee Edwards. So we ended the first half of the show talking about the the recruiting and everything. I want to go ahead and jump into the bowl season right quick because we've had we're coming up on a week so far of when the bowl started, and this weekend we got the Camellia Bowl coming up, and let me see. Let me just go ahead and be clear. It's Northern Illinois and Arkansas State. Now, I don't know a whole lot about these schools. I will confess it. I think one of our guys went to Northern Illinois. I'm not sure, so I'm not going to call his name out. But I think for Montgomery, and this is something that people get a chance to see college football, in the bowl season. So I think I'm pleased with that. I think that's a good thing for Montgomery.
Well, what you normally have from the Camellia Bowl is 2 offensive teams, two real good offensive teams. They come out and put on a real good offensive show.
Now both of these jokers are 6-6, Drew.
Right.
I saw the record. They're 6-6,
and the games are normally good.
Yeah.
So I mean, that's what I'm still looking forward to. I think it's going to be a good game. I think Northern Illinois has a high-powered offense. I know Arkansas State, they keep a high-powered offense.
Yeah.
So I mean, you'll see a whole lot of fireworks and a lot of excitement.
So there are a total of 43, I think, bowls that we had a chance to select the winner of. And some of us are off to a good start. Some of us aren't. All right. I'm not going to call any names, Drew. Okay. Anthony, Pee Wee, he ain't doing so well. Yeah. But, guys, this week, Michigan got hit with
another violation.
Yeah, the violations were announced.
Yeah,
of what
level 1.
Level 1. This is the one that Michigan was they tried to be proactive. They tried to be proactive.
Correct.
They tried to
sweep it under the rug.
But now there's still there was a lack of negotiating going on between for that level 1. And I know you've been saying this all season. You think he's going to be gone?
I think he's going to be gone, but with a level 1 infraction, I don't see it being that bad. But I don't think that Harbaugh's coming back. I think it's too many pro teams that's interested in Harbaugh, and I really just, as a person that left a team that he took to the Super Bowl because he couldn't get along with the front office, I just don't see him bowing down to the NCAA or the people around Michigan.
But see, that's been my whole thing in perspective of all this. Harbaugh, if it was Nick Saban, somebody said it's on ESPN.
Right.
If it was all this allegations come by Nick Saban, and I'm a Bama diehard fan, it wouldn't even be said. So Harbaugh didn't do something that the NCAA want him to do.
Right.
So now they know how the townspeople went after the monster.
Yeah.
With the picks and stuff. That's what they're doing.
So you saying that Harbaugh the target? He's a target.
I think it's because of so much that's happened this year. Because normally level 1 infractions at the end of the season.
That's the highest point.
Yeah, but normally when you have level 1 infractions at the end of the season, you announce them. That's it. They go away.
Yeah,
and they leave them alone.
But see, what I'm saying is they're targeting him.
Yeah.
They're going after him.
Because this level one, this one here goes back to the COVID
2020. Yeah.
Yeah.
See what I'm saying? I mean, and see, sign stealing. Come on now. Everybody does that.
Yeah. Yeah.
They might not do it to the level.
Right.
But everybody does.
Yeah.
That's called recruitment.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? Game scouting.
Yeah.
So, I mean, come on now. You targeting Harbaugh because, and the only reason I think Harbaugh would leave right now is because he's reached a plateau 3 years in a row.
Mm-hmm.
He took Michigan from where they were
Right.
to winning 3 Big Ten championships.
And if you know anything about Michigan, historically, Michigan has never put a premium. They don't value the postseason.
Exactly.
They value winning that Big Ten.
See what I'm saying? So he's done it.
Yeah.
So his only, as we say, our only thorn in the side, he hasn't won a Super Bowl.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
He was in the Super Bowl.
Plus, it's Harbaugh.
Yeah.
It's not what you're doing. It's how you're doing it. It's every coach does. Every coach does what Harbaugh is doing, but you don't see every coach doing it to the level that Harbaugh's doing it, or doing it out in the open like Harbaugh's doing. Harbaugh does it, and it's like he does it, and he's like, "Hey, man, I'm Jim Harbaugh.
Yeah,
what you gonna do?"
But okay, that's what as a player, that's what I would want.
Right.
I would want to play for a guy like that.
His players love him.
I would want to play for a guy.
And that's why I got him picked in that championship game.
Yeah. Well, that's going to be another discussion. But I want to bring up something here, man, right
I
quick.
would love to play for him.
Oregon is coming into the Big Ten next year. Do you guys see Oregon they have the #1 recruiting class in the Big Ten now? Right now coming in.
They sure do.
Did y'all see that?
Yeah. They're number 3. It's Georgia, Alabama, and then Oregon.
Yeah. They're ahead of Ohio State.
Sure is.
They're ahead of Penn State, and they're ahead of Michigan.
But they're gonna finish 3rd in the Big Ten.
But we'll see.
They're gonna finish 3rd in the Big Ten.
What makes you think that?
I don't think so.
It's still gonna be coming out of the Pac-12. It's still gonna be a different style of football.
True.
The Big Ten may not be as physical as the SEC,
right?
But the Big Ten is a physical conference. Ohio State is physical. Michigan is physical. Penn State is physical. They just don't have a good quarterback, but they physical.
No, they got 5 stars.
They got 5 stars, but they can't throw the ball down the field.
Listen, they got. Penn State's got some receivers coming in.
I ain't gonna say that. I think Oregon with their coach.
I was just gonna say
with their coach. Because he's been an SEC coach before.
Right.
So they're going to be able to fit in.
He has, but, Drew, when you got 18, 19-year-old, 20-year-old guys, they in the cold, and they get hit in the mouth for the first time, it's a difference. The coach can tell you what to do, but you got to do it.
I understand that, but see, Oregon transformed my eyes this year. They started last year.
Right.
With Bo Nix coming in now.
Right.
Oregon is not going to be the same.
I will say Washington. That's why I said
I will say this.
That's why they said they'll be the 3rd best team, because they're going to be behind Ohio State and they're going to be behind Michigan. They're not going to be. I wouldn't put them behind Penn State.
Right.
I'd put them ahead of Penn State.
But I will say this, and I do. You have a valid point, because coming from the West Coast, trying to play in that snow. I'm telling you, I came from the Midwest. I played football in Ohio, and that is no joke. But I'm telling you, what Lanning is doing is building a physical program.
Yes, that's what I agree.
He's built, and you said something. You said that he's been doing it for the past year. Yeah, for the past.
Yeah,
I think he took what Cristobal wanted to do.
Yeah,
and he just took it to another level.
That's exactly.
And I think that they may not be able to beat Michigan and Ohio State in the same season. I think he won't get one of them. I think he can get one of them. I'm gonna give him between 2 and 3.
With
Think about it.
With Ryan Day having the time that Ryan Day is having.
Man, I ain't sold on Ryan Day.
I can either.
I ain't sold on Ryan Day.
I can see
Ryan Day got out coached by an offensive coordinator.
Slide to 2. But if Harbaugh leave Michigan,
yeah,
I foresee them.
That's what you're saying.
Right.
I foresee them.
Harbaugh leave.
But I still foresee them hiring the offensive coordinator.
Yeah.
If they hire the offensive coordinator, I don't think you lose that much.
Right.
I mean, and I hate to be the elephant in the room, but Shamar, he's not going to be the head coach.
You
Because,
don't think
no.
I think
No, he's not.
I think they can do a lot worse.
They are.
Making him the head coach.
They are. They're going to go out and get, and I don't know how this podcast rolls, but they're not going to get the black head coach. Michigan's not. Because they're having tradition. Bo Schembechler.
right.
Rich Rodriguez. Jim Harbaugh. He did, even your situation.
He doesn't.
Cadillac Williams.
Yeah.
He inspired that team.
Right.
But they didn't hire him.
All I can say is I hope, and you're speaking from past experiences, but I hope. All I can do is hope that they look at this guy and say, "Hey, this is the best opportunity for us to move forward," because he's been a part of this program. He's been a part of the transformation of Michigan being a doormat for 20 years.
He has.
They have ascended to the
top
of the Big Ten.
I'm gonna throw out a name with Turner Gill.
Right, man. Where is he anyway?
Yeah, exactly.
Where?
What about?
Because I'm telling you right now, that was the source.
You feel me? That's what I'm saying. We don't.
Auburn had a chance at him some years ago.
Yeah,
but
he went to Buffalo.
Yeah, he went to Buffalo. I thought that
he went to Kansas as well.
Yeah, he went to Kansas, but he went to Buffalo.
But I thought he was going to. I really thought he was going to be able to make his way back to Nebraska, but that just didn't work out.
It didn't work out.
And then I'm just saying, on the sidelines, traditionally, we can go to the NFL. We're not represented in coaches.
Right.
We defensive coordinators, we offensive coordinators, but as head coaches, we don't have that staple.
And I like I said,
I don't think
hope,
so. Yeah.
I hope in Michigan's sake, I'm not a Michigan fan, but I hope for their fans' sake that they're able to, look at the merits of this guy and give him serious consideration. Speaking of Michigan, listen, you weren't in here. We were in here one day, man, and Big Coop was throwing around some outrageous bets. Coop was in here talking about he's taking Michigan over Alabama in the game. And if he said, I know you are, but you weren't in here that day. You weren't in here.
He was crazy.
Yeah, but look, Drew, let me tell you what he was doing. Drew said, Coop said, he bet about 4 people's cigars, 4 or 5 people's cigars. He said, when Michigan beats Alabama, I'm gonna be in here 10 o'clock when Sanctuary opens. I'm gonna wait by the door. I want everybody to hold me a stick to come in and give me my stick. Then I want y'all to come in and watch me smoke you stick. Because I'm gonna stay here all day. I'm gonna smoke every stick that y'all. I'm gonna smoke every stick that y'all owe me. So the producer. Our producer was talking, going back and forth with him. The producer said, "Look, when Alabama wins, I want you to come in here. You can sit on this show, but you can't say nothing. You got to sit here and wear the Alabama elephant on your head. You can't. All you can do is nod your head." Coop said, "Oh, bet." So all we got thrown into it because he says he's a Michigan guy, so I had to jump in. I said, listen, when Alabama wins, I want tape across both of their mouths, and both of them got to wear the elephant.
We didn't agree to that.
Yeah, but you got thrown in though, bro. Coop spoke for you.
But let me ask you this, man. Just what do you see that? First of all, you let the bear into the college football playoffs.
Well,
so what do you see that Michigan has?
What I see is, like we said before, Michigan has an attitude that they want to run the football.
I agree.
The last team that I saw that had that attitude that they want to run the football was Gus Malzahn's 2013 team.
Well, you discrediting your 2023 team.
Well, the 2013 team had that same attitude where they were going to run the football. They were going to run the football no matter what you did. They were going to run the football.
Correct.
They passed the ball probably about 4 times a game and rushed the ball 20 sometimes.
Correct.
And you weren't going to stop. No matter how you lined it up, physically they were going to push you down.
Correct.
And I think they got that same attitude. The thing that I see on Alabama's side, to me, that kind of make me believe that that's a problem is if you load that box up because your defensive line is not as strong this year as they have been in years past. I'm not saying that your defensive line is weak, Alabama fans, but you're not as strong as you were in years in the past.
I can give you that.
Years in the past, when that ball was handed off, you had a linebacker or a defensive end in the backfield.
I agree.
That would stop that.
I would agree with that.
Now you have a push where you have running backs getting 3 and 4 yards on you every time they get the ball.
I think what it is I think Alabama's inexperienced on the second level with the linebackers.
Correct, they are.
Yeah.
The defensive line, I think, is maybe they don't have the namesake that the previous defensives Alabama
had.
Correct. But they're I think there's some dogs up there.
There's some dogs, but when you load that box up and you bring Kool-Aid McKinstry up and you bring some of those guys in that secondary up, some of those guys in the secondary gonna hit. Is Kool-Aid gonna hit?
Well, we'll see. We'll see.
But see, the only difference I have that might sway that is that Alabama has a problem with a scrambling quarterback.
Right.
If J.J. McCarthy has time and able to get out, he got Wilson, he got Corn, he's got the other little guy, I can't think of his name.
Yeah.
The tight end.
Yeah.
So if he can get to them, we're going to have a problem.
Yeah, I think.
But other than that,
and then look to that bench. Look to that bench. Because I think you're going to see their second string quarterback in the game, too.
For who?
For Michigan.
Oh, the
black guy.
Yeah. Oh,
he's back.
From Texas. You're going to see him in the game.
And you're probably right. They're going to probably have some packages in for him.
The thing about it, if Michigan, even though they had the second best defense in the Big Ten, if they put a spot on Milroe, they have a chance.
Right.
And
see, that's where I was saying that if that is the case, I don't
because their defense bad.
Their defense is bad. I don't know that Alabama's going to be able to line up and just run right at them. My thing is I'm just looking at it. I'm thinking that Alabama, because Michigan is not a strong pass rusher.
They're not.
They're strong against the defense.
You don't have to be a strong pass rusher against Milroe, and that's the thing.
Hold on,
but you got to put
hold on.
Because let me explain.
Let me just remind you because Milroe had 10 to 15 seconds to throw that ball against Auburn.
Because what happens is what happens is everybody tries to come up with an exotic pass rush to go stop Milroe. Milroe is the kind of quarterback that exotic pass rush is not a weakness to him. It's a strength.
Right.
Because if you're coming to me in one direction and I can see where you're coming, and I can move out of that way, I can mess that up. But with Milroe, your pass rush needs to come from the center, or it needs to come from the spot.
Well, you said that's the key right there. We all know we're fans. We know that to get to Milroe, you have to come straight up.
Yeah, to come straight up the middle.
If he gets on the outside, I think. But see, that's where I'm saying that I think Michigan may be not as athletic. They're not going to be as fast.
They're not.
And
I don't think so either.
If he gets on the outside, I think it's going to be trouble for their defense. That's all I'm saying. So, but that's one game. But the other game is going to be the Washington versus Texas, and I think from what everything I keep hearing, that's going to be the more entertaining game.
It is.
So, what do you guys think about that?
All I got to say about Washington, if you let Penix get any hint of throwing the ball, Texas is done.
Yeah.
Now if Texas can make it to the second quarter, they're gonna wear down Washington.
Right. And yes.
Because of the big size of
it. Yeah.
But you gotta outscore them first. Right. If you don't outscore them,
what concerns me about Washington is, and I've seen this a few times that I've watched them play, they go through lulls.
They do.
They go through and they where they're not able to match. I'm not going to say the intensity, but the play calling, the big playability.
Right.
Sometimes they will keep you in the game by allowing you big plays.
Right.
And if I'm looking at Texas, and I see a bunch of first and second round players on their team. So I think that's going to be an entertaining game.
But what's going to hurt Texas if you put yours out the pocket.
Right. Yes.
You make him get out the pocket,
yeah,
he's no good.
He's soft as paper.
He's soft.
He's soft. 25 seniors.
Who?
25 seniors is what Washington has.
Oh, wow.
Oh, yeah.
I didn't know.
25 seniors.
They get you was out the pocket. They done.
Anytime you got that, you got a chance.
Yeah.
You do.
So,
I agree.
You
So-
was out that pocket, though. They
Yeah.
done.
Yeah.
As long as he able to stand in the pocket, and then they got the running back,
Right.
they going to kill you. But you make him get out the pocket, Washington definitely got a
Yeah.
chance.
Now, we got some other bowls coming up as well, man. And I've been seeing a lot of guys, you know, they're withdrawing from the bowl game.
Fans call the
Prepare
producer and
themselves.
make sure he has my cigar after Saturday, because when Auburn beat the brakes off of Maryland, I want my cigar.
I agree with that.
Was there anything else that you wanted the producer to know? Because I know this is a personal bet between you and the producer. He's a Maryland grad. You are an Auburn diehard fan, and I know that you guys
I agree with that one.
You agree with that?
Yeah, you got DJ, the quarterback, he ain't playing.
Yeah.
Yeah, so,
Well, that's not my problem. You don't have
I'm just saying, I believe that one right there.
quarterback don't have no
Yeah.
I
heart.
know.
I mean,
Now, he ain't got no heart. He going transfer portal.
well, that's the
Yeah.
thing. No, that's the
Was that what
thing
he
that that's the thing that I don't understand.
He
right
going
there
again,
about
right?
This new thing, guys saying that they making a business decision. If you're not a first or second round draft pick,
Hold on. Is he going? Is he not
going to the
playing
draft?
because he's going
he's
to the
going
draft?
into the draft.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
If
okay.
if you're not a first or second round draft pick,
Yeah,
play in that bowl game.
I hadn't
again.
heard anything about his decision on why he wasn't playing. But I do know that he's got to know. He's got to hear that he's not a first or second round draft pick.
That's what I'm saying. Though.
You know,
I just
so
can't-
that doesn't. That to me, I think.
Yeah.
You raised
Yeah.
the point was
You-
that he may be looking into that transfer.
Transfer portal, yeah.
You were
He broke
you were
every Maryland
Tua's-
record there is.
But you still Tua's baby brother.
I understand that,
You're
but
thinner than him. You are you
what,
can't stay healthy.
But again,
just like him.
What-
like
playing
you
in-
said, we don't know. We don't know if he's
Yeah.
declaring for the draft. We
Yeah.
don't. All we heard was
that he's not
that
playing.
he's not playing.
Yeah.
Well, he's choosing not to play.
Well, if he was going into the transfer portal, he'd be in the portal.
He still has time.
Yeah.
No,
He's still-
he'd be in the portal if he was going into
No.
the portal.
No.
You still have 30. You have 30 days.
Mm-hmm.
You have 30 days. So
So if this kid was going into the portal,
you keep saying ifs. I'm not.
Yeah.
I'm telling you. I'm only gonna go by what I know. I know that
he's
he
been
has
in
not.
school
He has
about-
not said that he's
He
going.
broke every Maryland record.
Right.
Yeah.
There is to break. So what?
'Cause I-
playing against Auburn, what does that do?
what does that do? That gives you
Yeah.
a chance to get on TV and give
Ah,
yourself
no,
a show.
no.
It gives you. It gives
But
you.
no, I will say
you-
this, Drew. If he's not declaring, if he's going into the portal, I can understand. If he's trying to hold himself out
for the
for the
draft.
draft, I got a problem.
But
with
yeah,
that.
I do too.
I got a
I
problem
agree.
with that.
I
I got
agree.
a problem with that because he should be out there playing.
But then again, the last name.
Yeah.
Man, you got to think people get to a point where their last name they think they're entitled.
Yeah.
So
Well, somebody gave him some misinformation.
there
Man.
you go.
Give him a whole lot of misinformation.
like
listen.
who gave you about the picks a few weeks ago?
Oh.
Well, listen. Yeah. Hey, listen. We want to thank Drew for coming on the show today and filling in for Coop. I think you did a really good job. We want to continue into the new year. We want to wish our viewers a very Merry Christmas. And we look forward to our next show so we can definitely preview the Alabama and Michigan game as well as Washington and Texas. And we can also talk about some of the other New Year's Day bowl games.
Oh yeah, and y'all can watch me hold my cigar that the producer's gonna give to me
and
on
listen,
the air.
I have no stake in that bet, but I am looking forward to whichever one comes out on top. You know, I know they've got some other personal things that they've discussed, so we'll see about that. But we thank you guys. We appreciate you, and we'll see you next week.
All right.